The sky over the world of Lumerous dimmed long before the enemy fleet arrived. The elders claimed it was an omen, a warning that the universe itself sensed the danger closing in. Villages whispered of a coming storm, and the people gathered beneath their shimmering canopy towers, hoping for rescue. They had sent distress signals to every aligned world, pleading for aid. Weeks passed. No answer came. On the fortress plateau of Relin Point, Commander Orion watched the horizon through the transparent shield wall. His posture was steady, but the tremor in his voice betrayed how deeply the strain pressed upon him. He scanned reports from the outlying sensors. The marauder fleet known as the Varn were approaching with brutal precision. He knew what they did to planets they conquered. They stripped resources, enslaved civilians, and left worlds hollow and broken. Lumerous had no army strong enough to repel them. They had always relied on the Alliance for protection. But the Alliance had grown distant. Some said it was weakened. Others said it no longer cared for fringe worlds like Lumerous. Whatever the reason, the silence in response to their calls left the world trembling. Orion stepped onto the command balcony and looked down at the square where families huddled near the evacuation gates. Children clung to their guardians. Some whispered silent prayers. A grandmother traced circles in the air, an old symbol of hope meant to draw courage. The citizens deserved better than to wait helplessly for destruction. Orion clenched his fists. He had sent 3 more desperate transmissions that morning. He doubted anyone would come. Hours later, the warning sirens howled. The Varn fleet had entered orbit. The sky ignited with streaks of burning red as the invaders began deploying their atmospheric hammer drones. These machines were designed to crack defensive shields with precise sonic strikes. The ground rumbled. The citizens screamed. The shield wall flickered. Orion ran to the comm station. His officers scrambled around him, their hands shaking over consoles. He issued orders for full defensive power. The shield brightened, bending under every sonic blast. The world felt like it was being rung like a bell. The Varn spokesperson appeared on all local screens. His metallic mask reflected the glow of the assault. His voice hissed through a translator. He demanded surrender. He promised ruin if they resisted. Orion muted the broadcast. The people did not need more fear. Moments later, the shield fractured. The sound split the air like a snapped tree limb. A ripple of light cascaded across the surface of the barrier. Then the fragmenting shimmer dissolved entirely. The Varn ground transports descended in black columns. Soldiers marched out in rigid formation. Their armored boots struck the ground in synchronized thuds that echoed through the valley. Energy spears crackled. They advanced toward the capital. Orion activated the last city defense batteries. Bolts of white energy lit the sky. But the return fire from the Varn was overwhelming. Each blast resembled a falling star, ripping through the darkness. At the edge of the command room, a young technician gasped. A second screen lit up with an unfamiliar response signal. Orion froze. The signal was faint, distorted by atmospheric interference. But it carried an unmistakable signature. He recognized the prefix from old Alliance records. It came from a world that rarely answered distress calls. A world known for its isolation and unpredictability. Earth. Orion leaned close to the console as the message sharpened. A calm voice transmitted one clear sentence. Hold position. Earth responders en route. Orion blinked. He had heard stories of Earth, some full of admiration, others full of concern. Humans were known for their unpredictable tenacity. Their explorers were few but legendary. Their elite units were even more mysterious. Some whispered that Earth did not have soldiers so much as forces molded by harsh environments and relentless training. Units shaped by history and survival. Units the Alliance once called the Deathlanders. Orion had never believed they would come. Minutes later, the air above Lumerous split open with the thunder of atmospheric entry. Dozens of black vessels pierced through the clouds like knives. Their hulls bore the crest of Earth forces. They flew in absolute silence until their engines roared during descent. The citizens stared upward in disbelief. The Varn soldiers paused, their march stuttering as they watched the new arrivals. The Earth ships braked with incredible precision, landing across the plateau and plains. Hatches slid open. From each vessel emerged tall armored figures with stark plating and reinforced exoframes. Their visors glowed faint blue. They carried compact but powerful weapons, shaped for adaptability in every environment. Their movements were controlled but fluid, almost predatory. The Deathlanders had arrived. One of the figures stepped ahead of the formation. His armor bore the mark of unit command. He surveyed the battlefield calmly, as if measuring every variable at once. When he spoke, his voice carried through the channels and open air alike. Citizens of Lumerous, remain behind the fortified line. We will handle the threat. Orion felt breath return to his lungs. He almost dropped to his knees from relief. The Varn commander barked orders. His soldiers charged forward in tight formation. Their energy spears ignited. The ground shook under the rapid advance. The Varn roared in confidence, believing numbers and aggression would overwhelm the newcomers. They were wrong. The Deathlanders moved with coordinated decisiveness. Their weapons fired controlled bursts of directed plasma. Each shot struck with absolute accuracy. Varn soldiers fell, but could even raise shields. The front lines collapsed instantly. The Earth units advanced with a relentless rhythm. Their steps were measured. Their voices remained calm as they relayed positions and orders. They did not shout. They did not panic. They worked like a single focused entity. The Varn retaliated with heavy cannons. Massive bolts of energy tore across the field. Dust rose, but the Deathlanders adapted instantly, deploying portable shield projectors that snapped into place with sharp mechanical clicks. The barriers absorbed the fire, rippling with light. The units pushed through the barrage. Orion watched in awe. He had never seen combat executed with such precision. It was as if the Earth forces had trained, not just to fight, but to dominate any battlefield they encountered. The Varn commander tried to regroup. He ordered heavy walkers into the fray. These towering machines stomped forward, their legs carved in metallic arcs. Their shoulder cannons charged with electric flare. The ground trembled under their weight. The Deathlanders responded by splitting into small strike teams. Each moved with synchronized speed. They sprinted around the walkers, using thruster bursts to leap onto elevated positions. They planted compact charges at key joints in power nodes. Moments later, controlled detonations severed the walkers' limbs. The machines collapsed in thunderous crashes. The Varn faltered. Fear spread through their formation. They had expected a helpless world. Instead, they had encountered Earth's most relentless defenders. The Deathlander commander stepped forward again. He raised his arm. A swarm of micro-drones launched from his gauntlet, dispersing in perfect patterns. They mapped the battlefield, highlighted enemy weaknesses, and fed the data back to the unit network. Every Earth soldier adjusted instantly. Orion realized these soldiers were not simply trained. They were shaped by a world famous for hardship. A world that forged resilience under crushing gravity, volatile climates, and historical conflict. Earth had produced warriors without equal, but it had also produced protectors. They were dangerous, yet controlled. Ferocious, yet focused. The battle raged across the plains. The Deathlanders cut through enemy lines with unmatched efficiency. The Varn attempted retreat. Their ships tried to ascend. but Earth vessels intercepted them. Engines roared. Escape routes closed. The Varn had no choice but to surrender. The remaining soldiers dropped their weapons. The battlefield went silent. The citizens of Lumerous emerged cautiously from their shelters. Orion approached the Earth commander. His voice shook as he spoke. "You came when no one else would." The commander nodded once. "Your call was heard. Earth does not ignore those who need help." Orion felt an overwhelming relief sweep through him. The people around him bowed in gratitude. Some cried. Others laughed in disbelief. Children stared at the armored figures with wide admiration. The Deathlanders began assisting with repairs, standing guard to ensure no remaining threat lingered. They worked without complaint. Their presence alone brought a sense of safety the world had not felt in generations. Over the next hours, the skies cleared. The stars returned in their natural glow. The storm of fear lifted from the hearts of the people. Orion watched the Earth soldiers as they secured outposts and ensured all civilians were safe. They bore no arrogance, no triumphalism, only calm purpose. He understood now why they were both feared and revered. They were shaped by a world that taught them to endure and to overcome. A world that taught them to protect those who could not protect themselves. A world that answered distress calls even when others turned away. When the Earth commander finally approached Orion again, he offered a simple statement. "Your world stands safe now. Strength will return to you. Until then, Earth stands with you." Orion bowed his head. "Lumerous will never forget what you have done." The commander nodded once before, returning to his unit. The Earth ships prepared for departure. Their engines hummed.